obviously a shortened week, having played Sunday night, so we did not practice yesterday, and we have our first practice of the week today, which is, again, shortened because of a Sunday night game. So we have 2 days of real practice preparation for Oregon State, who, watching them on film, they're much improved over a year ago. When I look at Cunningham, he is really impressive. Cunningham is one of the best athletes in our league, and they're playing a faster tempo. They're pushing the ball in transition. They're running less Princeton and more motion. Still playing zone, but they're going to be a very, very tough matchup. And they're coming with an awful lot of confidence in their last 2 home games, having crushed Arizona State by 22 and then having beat a very good Arizona team in their last home game. Questions? You know what? We can't. It's 2 games really, because it affected him obviously against Washington when he hurt it, and that one, you know, you understood more from the standpoint that he was uncertain what had actually taken place. He didn't know it was broke. I mean, you know, the thing was like, you know, crooked, and they had to, you know, and in this last game, you know, he was pressing a little bit early. We talked about that. My whole thing is just for him to understand that his effect on the team is much more than just him scoring points. Like most kids growing up, the first thing they think about, they judge themselves, am I scoring or not scoring? Well, as a point guard, you can't look at it as a #1 way of evaluating yourself, and that's what getting him to understand that's really important. You know, I thought that his offense, and therefore, you know, he had 4 shots in the first half, and 3 of them weren't good shots, and he knows that. One of them was a wide open shot, but he had already taken the other 3, and so he kind of, you know, got a little down. But it affected his defense, and his defense wasn't the same stellar defense that he normally brings night in, and that's what we need. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's not healing anytime soon here, and he's got to deal with it and just, you know, be mentally tough. And understand it's not, you know, it's not. Well, I'm not evaluating him by how many points he scored, just his total game. Hey, we're just looking at 1 game right now, and that's against Oregon State on Thursday night. And that's the sole focus. And to get that win is going to be a real monumental challenge, trust me. As I told you, I mean, you got to go back and watch them play like against Arizona. I mean, Oregon State, Joe Burton is much improved. His body is so much better. I mean, I tell you, he's quick. He's a real matchup nightmare for us. And for Josh, he's quicker. I mean, he's really nimble on his feet. He's got a lot of nice moves around the basket and up and under, and he's a very skilled passer. They have this new freshman kid that, you know, I'd seen when he was back in Chicago from Australia. He played a year back in Chicago at a prep school, Angus Bryant. And he's a good player. He starts for them and really gives them good minutes, can step out and shoot and score around the basket. He's a strong, tough kid. You know, their seniors, Haynes and Amari Johnson and Wallace, are all playing good. Wallace looks in great physical condition. Amari Johnson's had some big games. Haynes, you know, is a very talented, athletic player. I mean, they're going to beat a lot of people in our league. And, you know, they're coming off, like I said, their last homestand. They played excellent.
Coach, against it's Kansas, BYU, Villanova, UCU, and against USC, Malcolm Lee is scoring about 8 points. Against the other opponents, 14. Is it those particular teams are shutting him down? Does he not come up when you guys need him?
Well, I thought he played well against BYU. How many points did he have in the BYU game? He played. I mean, he was guarding their best player. I mean, Malcolm always has the responsibility of guarding the other team's best player, which, you know, immediately takes a incredible amount of energy and emphasis when you're the stopper and the guy who's going to, you know, be your best team defender night in and night out. You know, he didn't have one of his better games offensively against SC, but he'd been playing. I read somewhere, I don't know where I read it, you know, prior to that he had averaged like 17 points over the last 5 or 6 games. So I think that he will bounce back, and we're going to see all zone this week against Oregon State in the first game. It's going to be either the 1-3-1 where they're trying to speed you up and trap you, or they're going to be in their 2-3 matchup, which is pretty aggressive. And he's going to get open shots, and I have confidence he'll knock them down. And he's got to look to make plays off the dribble and penetrate and make plays for other people as well.
There was one point in the second half where Reeves literally walked down the court and was he hurt or was he?
In the second half, I was that was brought to my attention, and I didn't realize that during the game. But Tyler Lamb threw a long pass that was not a good pass. That the little point guard Maurice Jones had his hand on it, and Reeves grabbed it, and he tried to go up and shoot it, and he fell down. And I remember him falling down, and I just took my eyes off. And then, I had more than one person tell me he was just like walking back. And so I'm not sure in that situation. At the end of the first half, he was so tired that he really just kind of shut down and stopped. There was one, but he was calling to get out of the game. And I don't remember seeing him that tired before, like he was at the end of the first half. And he didn't have that same energy that he needs to be at his best in the second half. And that's me. I'm like, in retrospect, when he came out with 3 minutes and 15 seconds left, I should never put him back in. Because he played 17 minutes in the first half, and obviously, he got off to a bad start with that call at the beginning of the second half. There was really a big call for us because it's a 5-point play, and it could have gone either way without question. And then Josh, I talked to Josh. His comments about the officiating were totally, poor judgment. And, I admonished him for that because you cannot do that. That was really, really, bad. And as I explained to him, when you go back and watch the tape, there's only one foul that wasn't a foul that was called on Josh. And that was the beginning of the second half where he was guarding Vucevic, and Vucevic actually kind of pushed him, and he fell down. He just fell down, and Vucevic tripped on Josh. There wasn't any, a foul. But the other fouls were all fouls. They were all good calls. And, to say something like that that gets printed and is out there is really, really poor judgment. And he's got to learn that. You got to take responsibility. And so we watched it. I had him watch those fouls. And even at one point, his fourth foul where he was doubling Vucevic again, he's like, I don't think I fouled him. Yeah, your arm's coming right down. You're hitting him. That is a foul. So he's still in denial either after seeing it and seeing that he's fouling. So, he's got to grow up and learn that that's uncalled for and it's inappropriate. It wasn't the whole team, but it was a couple guys were with him, just to see that those couple plays. Yeah.
Coach, you tinkered with putting Brendan Lane in the starting lineup and bringing Josh off the bench. Is there any idea about going back to that at any point?
You know what, Josh is. We need to get off to good starts, and Brendan. When you go back and look at the game from a defensive standpoint, in our last game against Vucevic. In half-court offense, Vucevic scored one time against either Reeves or Josh, and it was against Reeves on the block. All his other points in the half-court came against Brendan. Brendan, every single one of them in the half-court offense. And, Brendan's got to be more physical. Obviously he's outweighed by 40 pounds plus with Vucevic, but you got to do whatever you can do with what you got to be more physical. And he's got to give us better minutes. He had 1 rebound in 21 minutes. We need more.
Yeah, have you heard the back end of what Josh said?
No.
You sometimes learn something.
Please don't write that next time. That would be helpful. I know. I'm halfway kidding. He's got to learn. He's got to be a big boy. You cannot say something like that and not expect it to come back. And those guys are all human beings. I mean, and yeah, hey, the officials are going to make mistakes in every game that we play in, without question. They're human. It's a judgment. Sometimes you get better games than others, but, no one's trying to cheat or do anything. But when you get on their bad side, then that's a problem. And, I've seen it happen with other players before. I don't think that's going to happen with Josh because he's too good-natured. And he was just angry, so he's speaking out of frustration after the game. I mean, his first foul, I don't think he really wanted – I mean, he's grabbing his arm. It's an easy call. So to answer your question, we need him to rectify whether he's coming off the bench or starting. We've changed, how he's going to guard screens because, he wasn't able to stay out of foul trouble doing it that way. And he's got to get better at being able to do that, plugging. Go ahead.
Last couple weeks, Malcolm had played a lot of minutes against Washington. Reeves is out of gas because you have a smaller pool of guys to play with. Are you going to sit down and reevaluate how you sub?
Yeah, I constantly kick myself for not playing Stover more minutes. I mean, Stover gives us great effort and intensity defensively, and I've just got to get him. He's not a great offensive player right now, but he can get second shots and tap him in. I've got to give him more minutes, and yeah, absolutely with Reeves, it's like a diminishing return. It'd be better to play him 30 minutes than 35 minutes, or 28 minutes than 34 minutes, because I think he gets more out of himself playing a few less minutes. Josh, we need to get more minutes out of, and that's just him, and how much of it is him getting tired, I don't know. But there's definitely some. I mean, you could see that Alex was beating him down the floor just in transition. And so, yes, I am reevaluating it and thinking about it all the time. With Malcolm, it's hard to take him out because no one on our team gives us that same level of defense as he does. Yeah, and Lamb needs to, I like Lamb's toughness, and I think he's trying hard, and I think he has a lot of pride. And when we lost the other day, it bothers him. And so I love guys like that take it, personally like I take it. So, yeah, we need to continue to give him more minutes. I think he played 14 in the last game, and we probably it will be better. And he's just got to learn to be under control and not try to do too much on offense and take care of the basketball. And he's had times earlier in the season where he had some early turnovers in games. Forget who it was. Might have against Montana or somewhere. He had a bunch of early turnovers when he first came in. I can't remember who it was. One of our home games.
The last few games, there seems to be like a 6 or 8 minute lull in each game where you guys basically lose the game or let the other team back. Is there anything common you've seen in those stretches? Early in the second half of USC, maybe the first half against Washington State. Was it just defensive intensity?
You know what? In the game against our most recent game, and going to Washington State, I thought our whole first half was suspect. We played a much better second half in that game, and we let the game get away from us against Washington probably in the last 5 minutes of the first half. And it's just, mistakes really are become much bigger when you're playing against really good teams. One thing I can tell you that before I answer that question is I look and watch our teams in the league. Like I watched Washington State against Oregon State, and Washington State's really good. There was no question that when we played Washington State, it was really to our benefit that they had been on the road for 12 straight days to Santa Clara, to Hawaii, back to L.A. I mean, Washington State's going to beat a lot of people. Our league is much better than it's being given credit for. And it's good to see that Washington at least is back in the top 20 and or 25, I should say, and deservedly so. Our league is better than I think we're getting credit for nationally. You know, in terms of our lulls, yes, and that's, you know, sometimes it's, you know, where the last two games where we really struggled as well as defense is offense. And we scored 18 and 19 baskets in each of the last two games, 18 against Washington, 19 against SC. In this first half, we shot 57% against USC and did a good job. Second half, not nearly as good. I think we shot, you know, we made 7 baskets, if I'm not mistaken, in the second half.
Coach, is this about where you expected the team to be?
No, I thought we'd be a little ahead of this, you know, a couple wins.
What's the, is there a biggest key keeping Josh on the floor, or is it just a combination of all the?
I mean, keeping him on the floor, he's just got to, you know, fight his impulse to reach, which is what, you know, he's always done up to this point. You got to remember, you know, we are young, you know, and obviously it's hurt players like Reeves Nelson and Tyler Honeycutt that we weren't playing all man last year at this time in terms of their development as defensive players, because we need those two to definitely get better defensively. And, you know, a big part of it is just trying as hard as you can on every possession. And, you know, I've got to do a better job at just rewarding effort on the defensive end of the floor, no matter who it is of the 9 guys that are playing.
Are you going to try to run a little less at the beginning of the season? Push, go. Now people are getting more and more tired in the season.
Yeah, you know, really not. You know, we had a long practice week last week in terms of leading to the game, but I don't think, you know, because I gave them Thursday off, essentially, other than just coming in and shooting foul shots. So I didn't think it would, you know, and we were pretty good about not going too long on Friday and Saturday with practice. You know, we've just got to be mentally tougher. And, you know, you should want to run if you're a player, shouldn't you, on offense? I mean, oh, Matt Court, my memories go all the way back to being a player there. You know, when I was a junior in college at Weber State, we played the University of Arkansas with the triplets, with Moncrief, Brewer, and Marvin Delph. Eddie Sutton as the coach. And the other game was UCLA and Kansas with Darnell Valentine, and UCLA with Howland and Hamilton and Greenwood. And yeah, I have great memories of Matt Court, and that's, you know, really a special venue that in many ways you're sad to see it go because of the history of, you know, when I'd be down there before each game, sitting way down there where you can see all the pipes and everything's creaking, you can hear the balls bouncing down below, you can hear the ball bouncing real clearly off the floor. I mean, it's I think it was the second oldest venue that was in use last year in the country, but I was thinking, you know, myself, you know, Coach Wooden used to be down here, you know, below this before the games, you know, and you know all the former coaches that have coached in that building. So yeah, I'll miss that, but I'm sure it's exciting for Oregon. It's a new building, and you know, it's unfortunate that that game went the way it went last night for them in football. But you know, I've seen the new floor, the picture of it, and it's really interesting how they've got the forest going, the forest thing.
Coach, you said you wanted to do a better job of rewarding defensive effort.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean maybe a shorter leash on players who aren't playing with effort?
Yeah.
When you look at this conference, and you talk about, when you look at this conference, when you go on the road, any sort of number, you know, obviously you want to win them all, but I feel like these road trips, you have to get one out of 2.
Yeah, that's usually how you look at it. You want to win your home games and split on the road is the typical formula for finishing good. And then when you sweep a road trip, it's a, you know, monumental thing. But yeah, but you know, I never tell the team that. I never say, "Okay, we got to get a road split here." You know, but I think that's typical of, you know, most. That, you know, and we're different because, you know, it's not very, I mean, like you go look at the other BCS conferences in basketball. When I was in the Big East, I mean, you play one home game, one away game. I mean, you know, you're traveling on charter sometimes, but, you know, you play every night of the week. You know, this conference has always been typically Thursday, Saturday, and that may or may not change with the new, you know, whatever happens with the new television agreement. But, yeah, I'd rather have more prep time. I just, you know, our conference is really spread out compared to a lot of other conferences. You know, you got the Washingtons and the Arizonas. I mean, there's a lot of distances. So it's, you know, there's reasons why things have been done the way they have been.
Do you worry about a guy like Josh, a young guy going on road trips like this to Oregon where obviously players have been rattled before getting that way and still maybe?
No, I really don't. I mean, he's played in some tough venues already. I mean, at Kansas, and it was, you know, it was very boisterous and loud, and the whole world against us the other night at SC. They had a good crowd rooting them on. No.
You talked about the youth of this team and how you're not quite where you want to be, but do you see improvement at the rate you would like, or do you feel like you're behind there as far as guys getting better individually and collectively?
Well, you always want more, Ben. I mean, I always want more than we're getting. I mean, I think we're, you know, our guys are improving. I mean, I go back and I watch games from last year, and it's very painful to watch some of those games from last year. We're so much better than we were a year ago, and I have to keep, you know, reminding myself of that, you know, that we're headed in the right direction. And, you know, and I have real hope and excitement about the future, not only with the current players, but the players we have sitting out right now. I mean, you know, it's funny, and Tracy, you'll appreciate this, you know, how some people weren't, you know, that excited about the Wares when we were recruiting them out of high school. They're really good players and unbelievable kids. I mean, it's like the perfect UCLA fit. So, you know, I think we've got a good core and a good nucleus, and we don't have any seniors. And, you know, I'm reading what you're writing about Tyler Honeycutt and the NBA, and yeah, does that make it easy for him to focus on what he's doing right now? No, because it just adds a swirl, and you've got the whole world out there. Everywhere he's going is constantly talking about it. And no, it's not a good thing for him to focus on the end now. That's what he's got to learn to do. We talked about that today. That will take care of itself. If he's a top 15 pick at the end of this season, based on what GMs and everybody's giving us feedback, God bless him. I would love for him to do that. But, I mean, you got to go out and earn it and fight for it, and that's what we've got to get to. And, you know, he is very talented, but, you know, you have all that, and there's a lot being thrown.
Is there sufficient leadership when times get tough and you guys go into a little bit of a lull? Is there somebody on the court?
The guy we need to step up in that role, in my mind, is Zeke. And I think Jeremy's done a good job. I was pleased with how Jeremy played, especially at the offensive end in our last game. He did a nice job for us. And, you know, Jeremy's been through a lot of adversity since he's been here, and I think he's really having a solid campaign in his junior year. And he's, you know, I mean, the bottom line is what you want for your team is you want your team to do everything they can in their power to help their team win. Everything else takes care of itself, and I think that's what Jeremy's doing as well as anybody on our team right now. It's all about helping the team win, and that's what I've appreciated about what he's done.
Does that mean we might see a little bit more of Jeremy based on how it's playing?
Yeah, I mean, he did a good job for us in the last game, and you know, we played him and Zeke a little bit together, and I can't remember which game it was. I was planning on doing it against Washington, but then Zeke got hurt and was really kind of out of it. It would have been, you know, helpful in this last game. Zeke got in foul trouble. I mean, Zeke had 2 fouls fairly early on in the first half against SC, and his second foul was not a good foul.
Any other questions?
Thanks.